thinking about doing a PhD, but you don't know whether it's for you, whether it's not for you, what are the good things about doing it, what are the bad things about doing it, then you're in the right place. Today I am going to talk to you about why you should do a PhD. I have 5 main reasons and I am going to explain them to you now. If you are new to this channel, my name is Dr. Drhayleystainton. I am an academic. I completed my PhD about 5 years ago now, and I'm telling you all about my experiences. I'm also a supervisor, so I've got a little bit of experience there too. So if you are thinking about doing a PhD or any other academic studies, make sure you do subscribe to this channel, like this video, and you will see lots more content just like this. And it is really helpful for anyone who is pursuing a career in academia or somebody who is studying. Okay, so the first thing that we need to think about when you are deciding whether you should do a PhD or not is, why are you thinking about doing it in the first place? What are the benefits? How is this going to improve your life? How is this going to make your life better? Now, there are several different career lines where doing a PhD might be essential, it might be really beneficial, or it might actually not make much difference at all, or it could actually be detrimental too. And I have talked about that a little bit in my last video where I talked about the 5 reasons not to do a PhD. So one of the main career paths that you might be considering if you are watching this video and you are thinking about doing a PhD is a career in academia itself. Now, there are not many jobs around the world these days within a university in an academic environment where you are teaching or researching that don't require you to do a PhD. Sometimes you will find these, sometimes you will find opportunities to do a PhD and have some teaching alongside, but usually if you want to be an academic, a lecturer, professor, researcher, you will need a PhD. So one of the biggest reasons to do a PhD and one of the biggest benefits of doing a PhD is that it allows you to establish an academic identity. Working in academia is not like working in any other sector that I've experienced in my life, because it is unique in the sense that you do have this requirement to have publications, research, you'll have your specialisms, and this is very much what you become known for. I remember I started doing my PhD before I was married, and that was a pretty big thing for me because I started writing publications and getting work published, but I was really torn as to whether I do it in my name because I wasn't married yet, or whether I wait and postpone the publications until after the wedding because I planned to change my name. And this was a big deal because I want to establish that academic identity. That's a big, important part of doing a PhD and doing your research. So I actually decided to hold off and not to publish those pieces of work until I was married. I actually only had 1 publication, and I did write a couple of non-academic books, but they are still there on my CV, that were in my maiden name, and nobody knows they're me. Now, I think some people are familiar with my name because obviously they cite me, they reference me when they do their own research. So I definitely think that that illustrates really how important it is to establish that academic identity. And doing a PhD really allows you to achieve that. You attend conferences, the networking opportunities are fabulous. You will work with your supervisors quite likely. You might do publications with them. You might meet people that you network with and decide to do some work with them. So there's a big circle in the PhD world where you will connect not only with fellow PhDs, but also with academics who've got years and years of experience and long lists of publications. So it is a pivotal point really in your academic career in terms of establishing that integral identity that you need if you are going to pursue a career in academia. The second reason why you might want to do a PhD, and one of the major benefits, is that it does allow you opportunities to apply for jobs that maybe you weren't qualified for before, or maybe that you can apply but you are putting yourself ahead of other applicants because you are more qualified. Now this can go the other way too. You don't want to be overqualified for jobs. So it is really, really important that you have a think about what kind of jobs might you be interested in actually, and will a PhD be of any benefit or not? And that is a very, very important question to ask to yourself. But ultimately, it might be that if you've got that PhD, you can apply for that researcher job. You can apply for that job in science, that job for the government, that job for a major organisation, whatever it might be. So one of the things that I often say to students who are maybe college level, they maybe haven't even done a degree yet, is I often say, look at the job market. I know you're not looking for a job right now, you're still studying, but look at the job market, look at the requirements for the jobs that take your fancy. And you will very quickly learn whether you need to do a degree or a master's or a PhD or any other type of qualification. And that's a pretty useful thing to do quite early on. One of the things that I absolutely love about doing a PhD is that actually it demonstrates skills and qualities beyond writing a thesis. Have I shown you my thesis, by the way? It's here. Look at this beauty. This is a big one. 3 years of my life right here. 3 years. So one of the things that a PhD does demonstrate is that it demonstrates a level of determination, of motivation. Doing a PhD is not like doing a master's or a degree. You are not set assignments. Your supervisors might ask you to do working papers, or they might set you some small deadlines, but it's nothing like structured university where you will attend seminars and lectures. Okay, you will have meetings with your supervisors, but it's far less structured. As a PhD student, your days will be managed by yourself. You will get up and hopefully do some work. You might go to the library, but you can do this on your own terms. And this isn't for everybody. Some people don't have the motivation for this. Some people don't have the get up and go, and some people do. Working on a thesis like this for 3, 4, 5, maybe even 8 or 10 years shows that you are a dedicated person. It shows that you've got drive, because as I said, nobody is pushing you. You need to push yourself. And it shows that you've got that determination. And I think unless you've done a PhD, you probably don't understand to what extent actually. It can be really hard at times, it can. And if you are thinking about signing up for a PhD, you do need to take this into consideration. You absolutely do. But when you finish it, the sense of accomplishment, how proud you are of yourself is just wonderful. It's a wonderful sensation, absolutely wonderful. And I think that you learn a lot. I mean, right now I am at home making these videos to share with you guys, and I probably don't really need a PhD to be able to make YouTube videos. But actually, the whole process, it taught me a lot of stuff. It taught me how to be structured in my days. It taught me how to self-motivate. It taught me how to work independently. So a lot of these skills that I acquired throughout the process of doing my PhD, I am actually using right now. So I might not have a job that says you must have a PhD to do this, but actually I'm better at my job because of the skills that I acquired when I was doing that PhD. And another thing that I absolutely love about doing a PhD and any kind of higher level study really is that it changes the way you think. You will think differently when you finish your PhD compared to when you start. And that's not only by having increased knowledge about statistics or research methodologies or whatever, but it's also about everyday life and the way that you look at things and the way that you will analyze and critique. And it drives me nuts when people are very one-sided in their arguments and they don't look at both sides of the coin. And I say, okay, maybe you would still reach the same conclusion, but look at the whole picture. Don't just take part of the picture. And this is a skill that lots of people who haven't been exposed to academic study, they do struggle with. The higher you go up the scale in terms of your qualifications, the more you develop this ability to really be objective. Ultimately, there's always a level of bias in all of us, so I'll just throw that one out there. But you develop these skills to be a lot more objective, to be more analytical, to be more critical. And sometimes that's not actually always well received in society. Sometimes I am critical when people don't like it. And I've had to learn actually, just don't say it. I think that it's an important skill to learn in lots of walks of life. And there have been lots of occasions where I have thought to myself, why is that like that? And how would that have happened? And what if that was different? And these sorts of questions, these sort of higher level analytical questions are questions that I don't think I would always have asked if I hadn't been exposed to this higher level of thinking that you are exposed to when you do a PhD. So it does change you as a person, and it does change the way that you think. For the better, I think. And my fifth reason, that is a very good reason for you to do a PhD, is to express your passion. Now, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to choose a topic that you are passionate about, that you are really interested in, that you are determined and motivated to stick with. For me, my backstory was that I gave up teaching. I was teaching travel and tourism at a college. I gave up. I went to teach English in Thailand. I did a TEFL course, teaching English as a foreign language. As part of that course, I was with mostly people who had never been exposed to teaching at all. I'd been through 2 years of PGCE teacher training, and I had a lot of critiques about the methods of training within this very brief 2-week course that we did in Thailand. The practices, and a lot of people were doing this to get experience to then become teachers later on in life. I felt quite strongly actually that one, they weren't prepared, and two, the experience that they were getting there was not like the experience that they would have in a UK school or college. I felt that something was a bit amiss there really. I thought about this a lot during my trip, and when I came back to the UK, I thought, do you know what? That's what I want to study. And for 3 years, I looked at what do people do when they are TEFL teachers? Are they teachers? Are they tourists? And I developed a typology and a new type of tourism called TEFL tourism. So that's just my specific story. But what you want when you choose your PhD topic is to have something that you're passionate about. And you can really express that through your research. That's a great thing. Okay, so those are my 5 reasons why you absolutely should do a PhD. But it is not one-sided. There are also negative aspects to doing a PhD too. So make sure you do watch my video that's all about the bad things too. Look at the good things, look at the bad things, weigh up your decision and decide what's right for you ultimately. Whether you decide to do a PhD or not, do subscribe to my channel because I do have lots of helpful tips, tricks for academia, all levels of courses that I think you will really like.